The quantum sensors aboard the ESS Curiosity weren't designed to detect fear. Dr. Sarah Chen wished they had been. Perhaps then she could quantify the dread that settled over the research vessel's bridge as the massive object emerged from the darkness of deep space. "That's not a natural formation," Lieutenant Marcus Hayes whispered, his hands steady on the ship's controls despite the tremor in his voice. The object, sleek, angular, and impossibly large, reflected no light. It seemed to consume the very starlight around it, creating a void in space that hurt the eyes to look at. Dr. Chen's fingers flew across her console, analyzing the readings that poured in. "The mass calculations are impossible. It's changing as we watch, growing, shifting." She paused, her scientific detachment cracking. "It's alive." The Curiosity was humanity's most advanced research vessel, sent to investigate anomalous readings at the edge of explored space. With a crew of 30 scientists and a small military contingent, they represented the pinnacle of human achievement in 2157. Now, Dr. Chen realized with growing horror, they were about to become humanity's first contact with an alien civilization. The object, the ship, unfurled like a blooming flower made of darkness. Segments that seemed solid moments before split and reformed, revealing structures that defied human engineering. No radio signals, no attempt at communication. Just silent, deliberate movement. Multiple smaller objects deploying, Lieutenant Hayes reported, his military training taking over. "They're accelerating toward us. Defensive systems online." Captain Diana Rivera's voice cut through the tension. "Send the first contact package on all frequencies. Dr. Chen, keep recording everything. Hayes, plot an escape vector but do not engage engines unless I give the order. We're scientists, not soldiers. Let's act like it." The smaller objects, sleek as their parent ship, surrounded the Curiosity in a perfect geometric pattern. Dr. Chen's sensors registered energy buildups unlike anything in human physics. "Captain, they're scanning us. The energy signatures, they're not just reading our ship, they're reading through it. Down to the quantum level." The first contact package, humanity's carefully crafted introduction containing mathematical constants, biological information, and peaceful intentions, transmitted continuously. The alien vessels responded with a burst of data that overwhelmed the Curiosity's computers. "It's some kind of language," Dr. Chen said, her excitement as a scientist warring with her fear. "But the complexity, it would take years to decode." "Wait." Her console erupted in warnings. Energy spike. The alien vessels pulsed in unison. Where moments before they had been passive observers, now they became instruments of precision. Beams of impossible energy lanced out, not to destroy but to dissect. The Curiosity's shields, designed to protect against cosmic radiation, offered no resistance. "They're taking us apart," Dr. Chen realized, watching her sensors show sections of the ship being analyzed and catalogued down to the atomic level. "Not destroying, studying." Captain Rivera's voice remained steady. "All hands, prepare for emergency protocols. Dr. Chen, initiate the black box protocol. Everything we've learned needs to reach Earth." The Curiosity's quantum entanglement communicator, an experimental device for instantaneous communication, activated. As the ship was systematically deconstructed around them, Dr. Chen transmitted their findings, their sensor data, and most importantly, their warnings. The last transmission from the ESS Curiosity contained 3 words from Dr. Chen: "They're coming here." The response from Earth arrived instantly, message received. Initiating Phoenix Protocol. As consciousness faded, Dr. Chen smiled slightly. Humanity had been preparing for this possibility for decades. The Phoenix Protocol wasn't just a defensive measure, it was a transformation. The aliens studying their ship with such clinical precision would learn how humans built their technology, their weapons, their defenses. What they wouldn't learn was how humanity had planned for extinction. The beings that would come to be known as the Spiral Dominion had encountered many species in their methodical expansion across the galaxy. Most fought. Some surrendered. All were eventually absorbed into the collective knowledge of the Dominion, their technology and biology added to the ever-growing whole. But humans would be different. In their final moments aboard the Curiosity, the crew activated a quantum signal that reached across light years to trigger humanity's greatest gambit. Across Earth and its colonies, hidden facilities activated. Selected populations entered stasis chambers. Automated factories began production. The Phoenix Protocol wasn't about saving everyone, it was about ensuring humanity would rise again, changed but unbroken. The Spiral Dominion would arrive at Earth expecting to find a primitive species struggling to achieve interstellar flight. Instead, they would find a civilization that had used their brief warning to transform itself. The price of first contact had been the lives of the Curiosity's crew, but their sacrifice would ensure humanity's survival in a form the Dominion could never predict or control. As the last of the Curiosity dissolved into its component atoms, Dr. Chen's final thought was of the future she would never see. Humanity would survive, not through strength or technology, but through their greatest gift, the ability to adapt, to change, to rise from their own ashes. The Phoenix Protocol had begun. General Emma Santos stood in the heart of Facility Zero, 3 kilometers beneath the Atacama Desert, watching humanity's future take shape. The massive chamber, carved from living rock, hummed with the sound of quantum forges constructing technology that had existed only in theoretical papers months ago. "Time to arrival?" she asked, her voice echoing in the cavernous space. "Spiral Dominion fleet will reach Sol's outer boundary in 72 hours, Dr. James Chen responded, his hands moving across holographic displays. He was Sarah Chen's brother, and his sister's final transmission had driven him to work without rest, pushing the boundaries of physics to prepare humanity's response. The Phoenix Protocol had been designed for exactly this scenario, first contact with a hostile force that overwhelmingly outmatched humanity. But rather than attempt a conventional defense, it proposed something far more audacious, the deliberate evolution of the human species. "Show me the latest test results," Santos ordered. The central display illuminated, showing human DNA strands being rewritten in real time. The nanites they developed didn't just modify genetic code, they rebuilt it from the ground up, incorporating quantum computing elements into the basic structure of human cells. "The integration is stable," James reported. "Each modified cell becomes a quantum processor, networked with every other cell in the body. The human brain adapts to use this processing power instinctively. But the real breakthrough is here." The display shifted, showing a strange crystalline structure. "We're calling it the Phoenix Core. It's a quantum crystalline matrix that can store human consciousness. Not just memories, everything that makes a person who they are. And it can evolve, grow, learn." Santos nodded grimly. "How many can we save? With the resources we have? Maybe 10 million. The stasis pods are ready, and the automated facilities are fully operational. Once we initiate, the process will continue even if we're..." He trailed off. "Even if we're dead," Santos finished. "That's the point, isn't it? We're not trying to win a war. We're ensuring humanity survives to fight back centuries from now." Alarms blared suddenly, cutting through their conversation. A lieutenant rushed in, face pale. "General. The Dominion fleet, they've accelerated. New arrival time estimated at 6 hours. Santos didn't hesitate. "Initiate Phoenix Protocol. Full deployment. Now." Across the planet, hidden facilities activated. Selected populations, scientists, soldiers, artists, teachers, a careful cross-section of humanity, were guided into stasis pods. Each person received the nanite injection that would slowly transform them over centuries of sleep. In orbit, automated factories began producing the first generation of Phoenix ships, vessels designed to evolve and grow like living things, incorporating quantum computing into their very structure. They would hide in the vast spaces between stars, waiting, growing, learning. The Dominion ships are launching their first attack. The tactical display showed energy weapons unlike anything humanity had ever encountered, tearing through Earth's defenses like paper. James worked frantically at his console. Stasis pods at 62% capacity. The Phoenix ships are launching, but we need more time. Santos watched the destruction unfold on the screens above. How many pods are locked in? 6,400,000, James replied. Each one connected to a Phoenix core, ready for extended stasis and evolution. It'll have to be enough. Santos touched a control, broadcasting to all remaining military channels. This is General Santos. Initiate Operation Firebreak. All remaining forces, engage the enemy. Buy us time. For Earth. For humanity's future. Above them, Earth's combined military threw itself at the Dominion fleet. They knew it was suicide, but every minute they bought allowed more pods to secure, more Phoenix ships to launch, more of humanity's future to slip away into the darkness of space. In Facility Zero, James made the final preparations. The pods are securing. Each Phoenix core is networked with its host. The evolutionary algorithms are running. In 300 years, those who wake will be something new. Something the Dominion can't predict or control. Santos watched the last of the pod status indicators turn green. And the Phoenix ships? 43 successfully launched. They'll spend centuries evolving, just like their human cargo. By the time they wake, the ships will be as different from current technology as we are from single-cell organisms. The facility shuddered as Dominion weapons found their mark. Santos stood straight, watching the final preparations complete. Start the clock, Dr. Chen. 300 years. And when humanity wakes up, we'll be ready for round 2. James initiated the final sequence. Across the planet, stasis pods sealed. Phoenix ships vanished into quantum space. And in each pod, each ship, each Phoenix core, the seeds of humanity's evolution began to grow. The Spiral Dominion would claim Earth that day. They would study humanity's technology, analyze their weapons, and add human biological distinctiveness to their collective. But they wouldn't find what they were really looking for, humanity's potential, carefully hidden away in evolved quantum crystals, waiting to wake up in a future where the impossible had become routine. As Facility Zero's systems reported final shutdown, Santos smiled. The Phoenix Protocol wasn't just about survival, it was about transformation. In 3 centuries, humanity would return, not as conquered refugees but as something new. Something that could challenge the Dominion on equal terms. The facility's lights dimmed as the final security protocols engaged. In the darkness, Santos whispered, "See you in 300 years." The Phoenix Protocol wasn't the end of humanity. It was just the beginning. The quantum crystal stirred first. After 3 centuries of evolution, the consciousness within had grown far beyond its original design. Dr. James Chen's awareness expanded through the crystalline matrix, interfacing with ship systems that had spent centuries growing alongside him. The Phoenix ship Hyperion wasn't just a vessel anymore, it was a living thing, its quantum processors integrated with evolved biological components. What had launched from Earth as a primitive prototype had become something that defied classification. "Begin awakening sequence," James commanded. His consciousness flowed through the ship's systems, monitoring as stasis pods began their careful revival protocols. 300 years of controlled evolution had changed their occupants just as dramatically as it had changed their vessel. The first to wake was General Santos. Her eyes opened, now containing subtle crystalline structures that reflected quantum computations running through her evolved nervous system. "Status report," she said, her voice unchanged despite the centuries of transformation. "We're in the Concordat's territory," James replied, his voice coming from everywhere and nowhere. "The most advanced civilization in this sector of the galaxy. They've achieved quantum engineering, but their approach is different from ours." Santos stood, her movements fluid despite centuries in stasis. Her body had been rebuilt at the cellular level, quantum processors integrated into every tissue. She wasn't just interfacing with technology anymore, she was a hybrid of biology and quantum computing. The other ships? All 43 Phoenix vessels are in position, scattered throughout Concordat space. 6 million evolved humans ready to wake. But there's something else. James paused, his consciousness rippling through the ship's sensors. The Spiral Dominion. They're here too, at the edges of Concordat territory. Watching. Analyzing. Just like they did with us. Santos walked to the bridge, though on the Hyperion, physical location meant little. Every surface could become a display, every room could reconfigure itself as needed. The ship had grown into a form that served its evolved crew perfectly. "Show me the Concordat," she ordered. The space around her transformed into a three-dimensional map of Concordat territory. Hundreds of species working together, building something remarkable. Their ships were works of art, their stations marvels of engineering. But to Santos's enhanced senses, she could see their vulnerability to the Dominion's approach. "They're not ready," she said softly. "Just like we weren't." "No," James agreed. "But we are." The Phoenix Protocol worked better than we could have imagined. Each of us is now a quantum computer more powerful than everything humanity had built before first contact. And the ships, they're beyond anything the Dominion has encountered. Santos watched as more stasis pods completed their revival sequences. Each awakened human was something new, bodies rebuilt by centuries of guided evolution, minds enhanced by quantum processing, but still fundamentally human in their creativity, their determination, their ability to adapt. "The Concordat's detecting us," James reported. "Their quantum sensors are picking up anomalies they can't explain. We're too different from anything they've encountered." "Good," Santos smiled. "Begin Phase 2. It's time to introduce ourselves." Across Concordat space, Phoenix ships decloaked. They appeared not as traditional vessels but as shifting forms of light and shadow, their evolved quantum technology operating on principles that would seem like magic to their observers. The Concordat's response was immediate. Defense fleets mobilized, diplomatic channels erupted with activity, and every sensor in their territory focused on the mysterious vessels that had appeared from nowhere. Receiving transmission from the Concordat Central Authority, James announced. "They're concerned." "Open a channel," Santos ordered. She stood straighter, ready to make humanity's new first contact. "I am General Emma Santos of the Phoenix Fleet. We come with a warning and an offer of alliance." The Concordat representative, a being of crystalline energy, appeared before her. "You possess technology far beyond our understanding. Our sensors indicate your ships are partially organic, evolving even as we speak. Explain yourselves." "We are humanity evolved," Santos replied. 3 centuries ago, we faced the same threat that now approaches your borders. The Spiral Dominion came to Earth, studied us, tried to absorb us. But we had prepared. We transformed ourselves, our technology, our very essence. And now we've returned to prevent what happened to Earth from happening to you." The Concordat representative's energy patterns shifted in what might have been surprise. "The Dominion, they're here. At the edges of your space, analyzing your defenses just as they analyzed ours. But this time, something is different." Santos smiled, and in her evolved form, the expression carried new weight. "This time, humanity is ready. The question is, will you stand with us?" The representative's response was cut short by urgent signals. At the edge of Concordat space, Dominion ships were appearing, the same impossible black forms that had torn Earth apart 3 centuries ago. But now, as humanity's evolved vessels moved to meet them, the impossible had become possible. The Phoenix Protocol had done more than save humanity. It had prepared them for revenge. The Concordat Grand Assembly was a sphere of pure energy, where representatives of 100 species gathered as patterns of light and thought. General Santos stood before them, her evolved form causing ripples of unease through the gathered consciousnesses. The quantum crystals integrated into her being resonated with the Assembly's energy field, a testament to how far humanity had come. "You bring tales of destruction," the Prime Consciousness spoke, its thoughts echoing through the sphere. "Yet you appear as something that should not exist, biological beings merged with quantum technology in ways our sciences say are impossible." "Impossible is what the Dominion made us become," Santos replied. Through her quantum-enhanced senses, she could read the complex patterns of fear and fascination rippling through the Assembly. "We stand before you as proof of what they force upon those they encounter." James Chen's consciousness linked with hers, sharing real-time data from the Phoenix fleet. The Dominion ships at the edge of Concordat space were moving with familiar precision, following the same methodical patterns they had used 3 centuries ago. "They're already beginning their analysis," Santos continued. "Every scan of your defenses, every probe of your quantum networks, they're building a complete model of your civilization. When they finish, they will come not just with weapons that counter your technology, but with an understanding of how to absorb everything you are into their collective." The Assembly erupted in overlapping patterns of thought and energy. Some representatives demanded immediate military action. Others called for diplomatic contact with the Dominion. A few suggested surrendering, hoping to preserve something of their civilization. "Your division is exactly what they expect," Santos said, her voice cutting through the chaos. "We've spent 3 centuries studying them as they studied us. The Dominion doesn't just consume technology, they consume potential. They seek out civilizations on the brink of quantum advancement and strip them of their future." A representation of Earth appeared in the center of the sphere, not as it had been, but as it was now under Dominion control. A world transformed into a living computer, its entire biosphere reprogrammed to serve as a processing node in the Dominion's vast network. "This was our home," Santos said softly. "This is what they do to worlds with promise. They don't destroy, they repurpose. And your worlds, your achievements, your potential, you're exactly what they're looking for." The Prime Consciousness pulsed with concern. "Your warning is received, evolved human. But what would you have us do? Your Phoenix fleet is powerful, but you are few. The Dominion's numbers are vast." Santos smiled, and the quantum crystals in her form shimmered. "Numbers don't matter when you can rewrite the laws of physics. We didn't spend 3 centuries merely hiding, we spent it understanding. Each of us, each ship in our fleet, is a testament to what life can become when pushed to its absolute limit." She gestured, and the display changed, showing the Phoenix ships in their true form, not just vessels but evolving entities, their quantum biological matrices constantly adapting, growing, learning. "We offer not just alliance, but transformation. We can help you prepare, help you evolve. Not into what we are, your path will be your own. But into something the Dominion cannot predict or control." The Assembly's energy patterns shifted, fear giving way to something else, hope, tinged with determination. But before they could respond, emergency signals flashed through the sphere. James's consciousness connected directly with the Assembly's network, sharing tactical data. "The Dominion fleet is moving," he reported. "They've completed their initial analysis faster than we anticipated. Their first wave." He paused, his energy patterns showing genuine surprise. "Their first wave is larger than anything we encountered at Earth." Santos stood straighter, her evolved form humming with power. "They recognize what we've become. They see the Concordat's potential merged with humanity's evolution as a threat." She turned to the Assembly. "You don't have time for debate anymore. The choice is simple, evolve or be consumed." The Prime Consciousness pulsed once, a decision reaching through the collective awareness of the Concordat. We choose evolution, General Santos. We choose to stand with humanity. As alarms sounded through Concordat space, Santos smiled. The Dominion had expected to find an advanced but vulnerable civilization. Instead, they had found humanity reborn, ready to share the gifts of the Phoenix Protocol with others. The real war was about to begin. The Dominion ships tore through space like living shadows, their forms defying traditional physics. But for the first time in their long history of conquest, they faced something that defied their own evolution. The Phoenix fleet moved to meet them, humanity's transformed vessels glowing with quantum energy that rippled across multiple dimensions. All ships, execute Protocol Omega, General Santos commanded from the Hyperion's evolved bridge. The quantum crystals throughout her body resonated with the ship's systems, making her simultaneously commander, weapon, and vessel. Show them what humanity has become. The Phoenix ships responded instantly, their forms shifting in ways that made reality itself seem to bend. 3 centuries of guided evolution had turned them into something beyond mere technology. They were extensions of humanity's will, powered by the same quantum biological fusion that had transformed their crews. James Chen's consciousness spread through the fleet's network, coordinating their response. Concordat forces are in position. The evacuation of civilian populations to secure facilities is at 90%. Transformation protocols are ready. The Dominion's first attack came as a wave of energy designed to disassemble matter at the quantum level, the same weapon that had torn apart the ESS Curiosity 3 centuries ago. But humanity had spent those centuries preparing for this moment. The Phoenix ships didn't try to resist the attack. Instead, they absorbed it, their evolved quantum matrices incorporating the energy and redirecting it through pathways that had taken centuries to develop. Each ship became a lens, focusing the Dominion's own power back at them. They're attempting to adapt, James reported, his consciousness tracking the Dominion's response. Their ships are reconfiguring, trying to understand our evolution. But they can't predict what we've become because we're still changing, still growing. Santos watched as the battle unfolded across multiple dimensions of spacetime. The Concordat's forces, already beginning their own transformation thanks to humanity's guidance, engaged the Dominion's secondary forces. They weren't fighting to win, they were fighting to survive long enough to evolve. Execute Phase 2, Santos ordered. Across the battlefield, the Phoenix cores hidden within each evolved human activated their true purpose. They weren't just quantum computers, they were seeds of transformation. The energy released by their activation spread through space like a wave of pure possibility, affecting everything it touched. The Dominion ships closest to the wave began to change. Their perfectly ordered structures, built from countless absorbed civilizations, started to break down. The quantum corruption spread through their network, turning their greatest strength, their connected nature, into a vulnerability. The Phoenix Protocol was never just about our evolution, Santos broadcast on all frequencies, letting the Dominion hear humanity's victory. It was about creating something you couldn't absorb, couldn't control, couldn't understand. We became the ultimate virus in your perfect system. The Dominion fleet attempted to retreat, but it was too late. The transformation wave had infected their quantum network, spreading from ship to ship, world to world. Everything they had absorbed over millennia began to wake up, to remember, to break free. James's consciousness expanded through the corrupted network, guiding the chaos. It's working. The civilizations they consumed, their patterns were never truly destroyed, just suppressed. We're giving them back their freedom, their ability to choose their own evolution. On the edge of the battlefield, Concordat ships watched in awe as the Dominion fleet began to dissolve, not into destruction but into transformation. Each vessel became a crucible of rebirth as long-suppressed civilizations regained their independence. This was humanity's gift, Santos said softly. Not just to survive, but to ensure that no other species would face what we faced. The Phoenix Protocol wasn't about revenge, it was about redemption. The battle ended not with destruction but with birth. Where the Dominion fleet had been, thousands of new vessels hung in space, each representing a freed civilization beginning its own path of evolution. The Phoenix fleet moved among them, offering guidance to those ready to choose their own future. In the Hyperion's evolved bridge, Santos watched as the quantum patterns of freed worlds flickered across space. Earth itself, after 3 centuries of Dominion control, was among them. Humanity hadn't just survived, they had transformed the galaxy itself. "Send word to all Phoenix ships," she ordered. "Phase 3 begins now. It's time to help these civilizations rebuild, to teach them what we've learned about evolution and choice." The quantum crystals throughout her form pulsed with energy, resonating with the transformed space around them. Humanity had paid a terrible price for their evolution, but in doing so, they had broken a cycle of consumption that had lasted for millennia. The Phoenix Protocol had done more than save humanity. It had saved the galaxy itself, one evolution at a time.